Canned food is everywhere. It sits on every supermarket shelf, stacked high in tidy rows, marketed as safe, affordable, and convenient. From soups to vegetables, from beans to meats, we're told canned food is a reliable backup, a modern solution to hunger and busy lives. But beneath the shiny metal exterior and clever labels lies a reality few people ever question. Canned food isn't just food preserved for later use. It is food altered, tainted, and packaged in ways that silently harm your body over time. The first hidden danger comes from the cans themselves. Most canned foods are lined with a chemical coating to prevent the metal from corroding or reacting with the food inside. For decades, this lining was made with a compound called bisphenol A, or BPA. On paper, BPA prevents your soup from tasting like tin. But inside your body, BPA behaves like a hormone imposter. It mimics estrogen, the primary female sex hormone, and once in your bloodstream, it binds to estrogen receptors throughout your body. This disrupts natural hormone balance in both men and women. What does this actually mean? In women, BPA exposure is linked to irregular menstrual cycles, infertility, and higher risks of breast cancer. In men, BPA lowers testosterone, leading to fatigue, mood changes, and difficulty building or maintaining muscle. For children, whose bodies are still developing, BPA exposure is even more alarming. It alters brain development, contributes to early puberty, and has been linked to behavioral problems such as hyperactivity and difficulty focusing. Even cans labeled BPA-free aren't necessarily safe. Many manufacturers replaced BPA with chemicals like BPS, bisphenol S, or BPF, bisphenol F. These are chemical cousins of BPA, and research shows they disrupt hormones in nearly the same way. It's like swapping one poison for another and calling it progress. Your body doesn't recognize these compounds as natural. It treats them as invaders, but because they're disguised as hormones, they slip past defenses and cause chaos at the cellular level. Another hidden danger is heavy metal contamination. Cans themselves are often made of steel or aluminum, and while lined, that lining isn't perfect. Tiny amounts of metal leach into the food over time, especially if the contents are acidic, like tomatoes. Aluminum is especially concerning. Once inside the body, aluminum can cross the blood-brain barrier, the shield that normally protects your brain from harmful substances. Over years of exposure, aluminum accumulates in brain tissue and is strongly associated with neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's. It interferes with how neurons communicate, slowly eroding memory and cognitive function. Lead has also been detected in some canned goods, especially those manufactured in countries with weaker safety standards. Lead is a powerful neurotoxin, meaning it directly damages brain cells. Even in tiny amounts, it impairs memory, concentration, and mood. In children, lead permanently lowers IQ and disrupts behavior. Copper and tin, while less toxic, can still irritate the stomach and kidneys when consumed regularly in small doses. The danger of heavy metals isn't that one can of soup will kill you. The danger is accumulation. A little exposure every day adds up until your body, saturated with toxins, begins to break down. Sodium is another hidden issue. Canned foods are notorious for containing staggering amounts of salt. Salt is a preservative, and in high concentrations it prevents bacterial growth. But the average can of soup can contain over half the recommended daily intake of sodium in a single serving. Canned beans, vegetables, and meats often contain similar levels. This overload of sodium is no small thing. Salt pulls water into your bloodstream, raising blood pressure and forcing your heart to work harder. Over years, this constant strain stiffens arteries, damages the delicate lining of blood vessels, and raises the risk of stroke and heart disease. You may already feel the effects without realizing it. If you've eaten canned food and noticed swelling in your fingers, bloating in your stomach, or puffiness under your eyes, that's excess sodium pulling fluid into your tissues. If you feel unusually thirsty after a canned meal, that's your body desperately trying to dilute the salt. If you feel your heart pounding harder or headaches creeping in, that's sodium tightening your blood vessels and straining your brain. Canned foods also lose nutrients during processing. When vegetables are boiled before being sealed in cans, Water-soluble vitamins like vitamin C and many B vitamins are destroyed. What you're left with is food that fills your stomach but starves your cells. You think you're eating green beans or corn, but nutritionally, you're mostly eating starch, salt, and whatever chemicals leached from the can. The vibrant life force of fresh produce is gone. Instead of nourishing you, canned vegetables provide empty calories with a chemical garnish. Now let's consider how all of this plays out in your daily life. You may eat canned foods thinking they're harmless, only to find yourself feeling constantly bloated or fatigued. Your skin may break out without explanation. You might notice weight gain, especially around the midsection, that feels stubborn no matter what you do. You may struggle with mood swings, irritability, or difficulty focusing. These aren't random misfortunes. They are the subtle fingerprints of chemical disruptors, heavy metals, and sodium overload working their way through your system. Think of your organs as workers on an assembly line. Your liver detoxifies chemicals like BPA. Your kidneys filter out metals like aluminum. Your heart pushes harder against the pressure of sodium-thickened blood. Your brain fights to stay clear while bombarded with toxins that don't belong there. These organs work tirelessly, but every can of soup, beans, or meat adds another burden. Eventually, the workers tire. The line slows down, symptoms show up, and when they do, society doesn't point to the food, it points to medication. This cycle is by design. The food industry sells convenience. The medical industry sells treatments. Both profit while your body pays the price. And all of it is hidden behind shiny metal cans that promise freshness, affordability, and safety. In reality, what they're selling is a slow erosion of your health. What's most sinister is how normalized it all is. Canned food is considered a staple, especially for lower-income families who rely on its affordability. Governments even include canned goods in food assistance programs, ensuring that the most vulnerable populations are the most exposed to these toxins. Marketing campaigns show families joyfully opening cans of soup, feeding their children vegetables from a can, presenting it as love and care. But what kind of love is it when the lining of that can disrupts hormones, poisons the brain, and weakens the heart? The truth is simple. Canned food is not harmless. It is a delivery system for chemicals and metals that don't belong in the human body. And while it may not make you sick immediately, over years it chips away at your health until the symptoms become unavoidable. The deeper danger of canned foods isn't just what they contain, but what they condition you to accept. Every bite teaches your body to normalize chemicals, preservatives, and industrial processing. You don't taste the toxins, you only taste salt and seasonings, so you assume everything is fine. But inside your body, those invisible substances create damage that builds silently over years, showing up later as conditions no one ever traces back to the cans. Beyond BPA and heavy metals, canned foods often contain preservatives designed to extend shelf life. Substances like sodium benzoate and sulfites are added to prevent spoilage and mold. On paper, they make food safe, but inside your body, sodium benzoate reacts with vitamin C to create benzene, a known carcinogen that damages DNA and raises cancer risk. Sulfites, often found in canned fruit or wine, trigger asthma, allergies, and headaches in sensitive people. Even if you don't feel it immediately, these preservatives quietly stress your liver and immune system, forcing them to filter what should never have been there in the first place. Artificial flavorings and enhancers are another problem. Many canned soups and sauces rely on monosodium glutamate or MSG to create that savory punch. MSG overstimulates brain receptors, creating a wave of flavor that keeps you coming back. But this overstimulation, called excitotoxicity, wears out nerve cells. People sensitive to MSG often feel it quickly: headaches, dizziness, or a racing heartbeat after eating canned soups or instant noodles. Even if you don't feel it acutely, MSG can leave you with fatigue, irritability, and cravings for more salty, processed food. Over time, the damage compounds. Sodium overload stiffens arteries, raising blood pressure. BPA and its substitutes confuse hormones, disrupting fertility and metabolism. Heavy metals settle into bones and brain tissue, causing memory problems, mood changes, and joint pain. Preservatives chip away at DNA, creating mutations that set the stage for cancer. Artificial flavorings overstimulate your nervous system, creating imbalances that affect mood and focus. The impact reaches beyond individual organs. Your gut, often called the second brain, is particularly vulnerable. Canned foods are stripped of fiber and loaded with salt and preservatives. Fiber is food for your gut bacteria, the trillions of microbes that regulate digestion, immunity, and even mood. Without it, good bacteria starve, while harmful strains thrive on salt and additives. This imbalance, called dysbiosis, leaves you bloated, constipated, or overly sensitive to foods you once tolerated. It also weakens immunity, leaving you more prone to colds, allergies, and autoimmune flare-ups. Your hormones are another target. Because BPA and similar chemicals mimic estrogen, they disrupt the endocrine system. Women may notice irregular cycles, heavier periods, or worsening PMS. Men may notice lowered libido, difficulty maintaining muscle, or mood swings. Couples trying to conceive may struggle with fertility issues, never realizing the cans of food in their pantry are playing a role. Children, still developing, are the most at risk. Hormonal disruptors in canned foods can push puberty earlier, alter brain development, and set the stage for lifelong metabolic disorders. Canned foods also accelerate aging. Excess sodium dehydrates cells, making skin look dry and wrinkled. Sugar and preservatives in canned fruits stiffen collagen, the protein that keeps skin firm, causing it to sag sooner. Heavy metals create oxidative stress, damaging cell membranes and DNA, shortening the lifespan of cells. People who rely heavily on canned foods often notice they look older than they should, with dull skin, brittle hair, and low energy, visible signs of internal damage. The emotional impact is just as real. Brain fog, irritability, and fatigue don't just affect your health. They affect your relationships, your work, your ability to live fully. Imagine being constantly tired, struggling with focus, and snapping at loved ones because your body is under chemical assault. That is the invisible cost of convenience foods. They don't just steal years from your life, they steal joy from your days. So why is this knowledge